Here in my hands of this box that you cannot see at this point, I have the 3 millionth copy of Metroid Dread sold. No, I'm joking. I don't have the 3 millionth copy. But what I do have is the special edition of Metroid Dread. This is something that I wanted to get earlier and I couldn't find it, or at least I could find it, but it was always sold out. Every single time it was sold out. Every single time I tried to do it when I was on vacation, it was sold out. So I couldn't get it. I finally flew back over here to the States. I was able to kind of lock in when it comes to like the Wario 64 and all of that. And I was able to buy a copy of the Metroid Dread Special Edition, not at the inflated price, not at the scalp price, but at the regular price. Okay, I was able to get it. And I was able to basically bask in the glory of Samus and her journey as she becomes, Metroid Dread becomes the fastest selling Metroid game of all time by a very large margin too, by the way. By a very large margin. Nintendo just announced recently, if you haven't seen my video, that Metroid Dread has sold 854,000 units in the first 25 days or so on sale. The sales cut off on October, at the end of October, so it doesn't count November. It just has the October sales, the MPD. And it was the third best selling game of the month. And on top of that, it pretty much doubled the dollar sales record of Metroid Prime. So it doubled the dollar sales record, and it sold significantly more than what Metroid Prime did, which is the previous best-selling Metroid game in the series. Metroid Prime sold right around 2.8 something million, so it's already significantly outselling Metroid Prime. So that is good news for the bounty hunter and all of her friends like us who want to see her adventures continue. But we are going to do a just quick, somewhat quick, maybe. We're just going to do a nice, easy unboxing of this because, you know, better late than never. I'm going to show you guys this Metroid Dread Special Edition. It is super nice, and they're starting to come back in stock. Like, people thought that this was going to be one of those situations where Nintendo just doesn't supply any, but no, Nintendo's actually been making multiple supply drops of these. They're just starting to come back. If you check Wario64 on Twitter, like, he posts them, and there's times when they're there for at least an hour or so before they all sell out. But yeah, Nintendo's continued to supply them even a month after launch. So bravo, shout outs to Nintendo on that one. So yeah, so let's see here. I think if I would have requested it earlier, I would have maybe got a copy from Nintendo, but I wasn't able to request it. So essentially, this is what you get right here with the game. It's actually a steel case, which is super nice. Steel case, so looks very good. Woo! Look at the inside of that, baby. Now that is some prime Samus and Metroid action. That's what you want to see with a steel case. You definitely want to see something like that. That's a good one. Then you have a Metroid. It kind of looks like there's some like art cards or something like that. So there's some cards in there. So we'll go ahead and leave that. And I'll have everything all laid out for you guys too once we finish this one up. What else do we got here? So now we have a huge book. I think each one of those inserts that actually gives you the different Metroid games. So we're going to open that up. So it says Metroid Mission Logs Journal de Missions. Okay. So we have a missions log book. So let's take a look at the first thing here, which is going to be these cards. I actually want to take a look at some of these cards. It's a very nice package. I mean, some of these special editions that Nintendo has done for these games have been absolutely incredible. Incredible special editions. I know I've liked quite a number of ones that they've done. The Fire Emblem Special Edition was really good. The Seasons of Fate. Also, the other Fire Emblem Special Edition was really good too. And actually, I want to do a super unboxing for the Shin Megami Tensei 5 Special Edition. I have the Fall of Man Edition, plus I have some stuff that Atlas sent me as well. So I want to do like a mega unboxing maybe this weekend for it. So this is pretty cool here. So check this out, guys. We have some cards going over the history of the 2D Metroid games. You have the Metroid Entertainment System. Yeah, the Metroid Entertainment System. The Nintendo Entertainment System, the original Metroid. So you gotta have like a holograph card there, kind of showing that off. And then it goes in order, obviously. You have Metroid 2 Return of Samus from the Game Boy. Kind of shows that off as well, too. Very nice. I like that. Then you have Super Metroid, the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. And I love the color scheme. Each game kind of has its own unique color scheme to it, which has always been synonymous with the Metroid games, kind of associated with that. Then you have one of my favorite Metroid games of all time. That's Metroid Fusion from the Game Boy Advance. Metroid Fusion from the Game Boy Advance. And then finally, last but not least, the creme de la creme. You have Metroid Dread with the nice logos there and everything. This is really cool. Now, they didn't include any of the remakes, so you don't get Zero Mission and you don't get Samus Returns because those are remakes. This is just going over the 5-part, 35-year saga of of Samus. 35-year saga. She looks great. She looks great after 35 years, man. So very cool there. The art book, I do want to open up the art book real quick and we can take a look and kind of see what's popping inside this art book. So excuse me while I get this and while I delay you guys talking about some other things. So it was interesting, man, because I think that with the sales of the game too, you're seeing quite a bit of misinformation that's going out there. I think from what I've gathered, Twitter seems to be the biggest source of misinformation that I've ever seen in my life, or one of the biggest sources of misinformation, because there are people that are just legitimately, like, there's information that Nintendo has put out there for sales of previous games and for franchises, and people just don't care. I've seen a large amount of people just not caring and saying whatever they want when it comes to the sales, and I think that's how we got to this point in the first place. You know, when it comes to certain stuff, but it's okay. It's okay. We'll take care of it. All things will be taken care of at the end of the day. But anyway, let's go and let's take a look at this book. We have a nice little art book here. Very good here. Oh, whoo! This art is fantastic. This art is fantastic. Very good. Very, very good. The original, like, concept art for Samus in the Metroid game. Oh my gosh, different animations, the enemies as well. Woo! This is actually really cool. I love the borders too. So it just gives you all the different enemies, the different power-ups, how they looked in their original art. This brings back like flashback. This is like memories. I remember, like, as you know, being a youngin' back in the day and playing Metroid and just being kind of terrified because it was a new style of game. You didn't see this labyrinth, you know, elaborate style of game. I remember looking at the box art and looking at the back and thinking, what is this back then in the day, man? Remember, there wasn't Metroidvania games. This was the Metroid that started the Vanias after Castlevania, you know? This was it, man. So it was interesting to play this game. And I would have never thought in my wildest years, all the way back then, you know, 35 years, that I'd still be at this point saying, yo, we got a new Metroid game. Like, I never thought that. After I played the first Metroid game, I was like, all right, that was a cool game. It's going to be Mario and, you know, maybe Zelda later down the line. I was like, that was pretty much it. And I was like thinking, okay, we're going to play, like, I don't know, Final Fantasy or something like that. I knew that was going to be around, even though it's called Final Fantasy. I was thinking they're probably going to make another one, maybe one of these days. But yeah, man, I never would have thought in my wildest years back then, like in the 80s, and that it would continue on this long. I would have never thought that. Here's some Super Metroid, or some Metroid 2. So there we go. There's some Metroid. Oh man, this looks good, man. Super Metroid, Metroid 2. It's great stuff. Great character art, great stuff. Just, you know, seeing Samus and just seeing the enemies and just seeing kind of what goes on. Yeah, oh, man, Metroid 2. Metroid 2, then you had Super Metroid. Now we're moving on to Super Metroid. There we go. Super Metroid as well. So cool. So cool to see this. This is, I still think that this is one of the greatest games of, like, all time. And it was my favorite Metroid game for a very long time. For a very long time, it was my favorite Metroid game. But I think Dread at this point has maybe surpassed it. I think Dread has surpassed it because the controls are just so much better. And like the wall jumping in Super Metroid is just so bad. Like, if we're gonna nitpick and look at things to compare, you know, the greatness of Super Metroid with the greatness of Metroid Dread, I mean, Metroid Dread just has the controls that really do it. I remember just getting my butt kicked originally when I first played this back in the day. I just remember getting my butt kicked all the time in this game, but then getting better and better and better. And back then I couldn't afford games as much, so I would speedrun a lot more than I speedrun now because, like, I couldn't do it. But that was before speedrunning became popular. I just saw at the end of Metroid, Super Metroid, that there was a timer, and I was like, okay, well, what if I beat this faster? I never thought about it as like speedrunning. I just said, okay, well, maybe I can beat it faster and with more percentage, because I didn't have any other games to play, because I would have beat all my games, and that was the game that I can play. Games were expensive, you had to rent them, so, I mean, I just ended up playing this game so many times on the weekends, you know. But these characters, look at that, look at Brent, ooh, these character designs, bruh, some of them are terrifying. Look, we got Ridley there. Oh, we got a nice little map too. Look at this, like, this is what makes Metroid, you know, the Metroid. There's the Metroid in there, man, it's so good. So good. And Samus's ship, the design on there is great too. And these these guys, these little monkeys that help you flip, they can flip a lot easier and better than you can. I can tell you that right now when it comes to it. You got Metroid Fusion, obviously Metroid Fusion, fantastic game. I love Metroid Fusion as well. I played that so much as well. But it was really good to see like what they did with like, you know, the SAX. That storyline was great. And obviously if you play Dread, whew, man, does it really kind of take that other one, you know? Look at the design and the detail. Metroid Fusion, GBA game, but still, like, you saw this in your mind. It didn't look this good, but when you were playing the game, that's what you saw in your mind. You saw in your mind that this is what they looked like. So they did a good job of translating that, you know? So then you have Metroid Zero Mission. Okay, so they don't have the cards in there, but in this book, they actually go over the remakes. So we have Zero Mission in there. So that's pretty cool. And Samus Returns. So they lump the two remakes in together with Zero Mission and Samus Returns. So, and we've seen the Samus Returns art. The Samus Returns art is obviously awesome. That's more of a, you know, newer end game. So, very good there. There's some, and of course they got a bunch on Dread. So they got a lot of stuff on Dread. Just so much stuff. And whew, look at that. Now, I like that piece right there. I love that piece. Now, that is a work of art. So, good stuff there. They won't go over different designs that they have for Samus and everything. I like it. I like it. Like you can see right here what they were kind of showing off some concepts and what they were going to do. So I'm definitely going to go through this book with a fine-tooth comb and this picture through a fine-tooth comb later. Okay, hold up. We got to see the E.m.m.is. The E.m.m.is and kind of how they attack. They drew each individual piece. You can see how much art and how much time and effort goes into this stuff. It's crazy. It's crazy just to see it. So awesome stuff there, guys. So that is the Metroid Dread. I thought I was going to lay everything out, but you know what? There's really no need. I showed you guys everything. It's a clean and good package when it comes down to it. Clean and good package. Everything is nice. So if you can still get one and you want it, it's $89.99 here in the US. I think it's more expensive in some areas depending on where you live. But so far, so good when it comes to Metroid Dread. When it comes to the sales and also when it comes to the special edition. I'm very impressed, very happy with it. So what are your thoughts on my 3 millionth copy? It's not the 3 millionth copy, but don't worry, guys. We'll get there. But what are your thoughts on my unboxing here of Metroid Dread? Are you still enjoying the game? Are you planning on getting the special edition? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe if you're someone new. Click that notification bell. And we will see you for the next video. Peace.